Okay, today we're going to start our unit on probability. Most of this is probably going to be review, but we're still going to take a little bit of time on it. Would you turn to page 569 in your book and write down any vocab and its definition that you don't know on that page? Would you also make sure that you turn in your TOK and international mindedness work from yesterday in? And once you've done those two things, would you talk with your side partner about the opening problem from page 568? What did you do? How did you come up with it? All right, so let's talk about experimental probability. Experimental probability is the relative frequency. It is the number of desired outcomes over the total number of events. This should be nothing new to you. Write it down if you feel like you need it. If you don't, then don't write it down. Okay. Let's take a look at some examples here. A plastic cone is tossed 279 times and lands on its side 183 times. It can land on either its side or its back. What is the relative frequency of landing on its side? Well, 183 is the desired outcome, 279 is the total, and so that is my relative frequency. Oftentimes when we're talking about a relative frequency, we go ahead and record it as a decimal. So if I take 183 and divide it by 279, I get 0.6, approximately 0.656. That is the relative frequency. Well, what is the relative frequency of it landing on its back? Well, if it lands on its side 203 times, if it lands on its side 183 times, then out of 279, that leaves us with 96 additional times for it to land on its back. 96 out of 279 is 0.344. Okay? All right. So I want you to try this one. Jose surveyed the length of TV commercials in seconds. Find the 3 decimal places the experimental probability, or the relative frequency, that a randomly chosen commercial will last 20 to 30 seconds, 60 seconds or more, between 20 and 59 seconds. Go ahead and do those. Okay, so if we want to know how long it takes for 20 to 30 seconds, how many commercials, or what's the relative frequency of a 20 to 30 second commercial, we look here and we see that we've got 38 commercials. If we add all of these together, we see that we've got 78. So 38 out of 78 is approximately 0.487, because remember it says to 3 decimal places. 60 seconds or more, there's only 4 of those, so 4 out of 78. That's approximately 0.051, or 51 thousandths. Between 20 and 59 seconds. Well, that's these two together, so we have to add the 38 and the 19 together, and we get 57 out of 78, which is approximately 0.731. Now, experimental probability is what happens. This was an experiment. Okay? This experiment gave us this. So let's take a look at this investigation. Okay? Everyone will do one coin toss. So Coach Gaines is going to hand out a coin to everybody, and you're going to toss it, and you're going to record it, and record your observations for 40 coin tosses. Now, what would you expect to happen when you toss a coin? You have a 50-50 chance. So you would expect to have about 50% heads and 50% tails. What you're doing is called experimental probability. You're actually conducting the experiment, and you're saying this is what happened. So we're going to start it off first. Everyone's going to do one coin toss. Once everybody has done that, then you're going to pair up with a partner, and you can choose who you want to pair that up with, and you're going to do the 2 coin toss. I believe it asks you to do 60 times there. Okay, so if you each flip it 60 times, but count it each time and count the 2, record what happens on both coins. Then 2 partner groups are going to join together, and you're going to do the 3 coin toss. 3 of you will toss your coins, and 1 of you will record the results for that. And I believe it asks you to do that for 80 times. Okay. When you're finished with that, your assignment for tomorrow will be, well, before we get to that, when you're finished with this, I want you to compare your answers. And then Coach Gaines is going to give you a sheet with a random generator that you can compare your investigation to what other people in the class got, and you can compare it to what a random generator does. And you can see what happens the more coins you toss. When you finish, I want you to try page 570, numbers 1, 3, and 4, and then investigation number 3, just questions 6 and 7. And that's on page 572 and 573. All right, have fun tossing.